Xander Schauffele. Man, we thought we were going to have a fun, intense major coming down to the wire at the end at the last major of 2024. And this man just came out here and snatched the hearts of everyone. Won his second major of the year. We've got a full recap here for you. We're going to talk about Xander. We're going to talk about all the other storylines from Royal Troon and the 152nd Open Championship. All right, let's tee it up. Man, all the players that were at the top of this leaderboard or close to this leaderboard. Did you expect this to happen at all?
Can't hear me.
Oh, there we go. We've got some technical difficulties. Now we're back.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, oh yeah, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. So you couldn't hear me before?
No.
Oh, perfect. What the fuck?
We've got a banger of a start to the episode. Look at this.
Hey guys, you're muted.
We're back.
No, my mic doesn't work. If I move 1 fucking millimeter on my mic, the thing just stops working. So, but what were you asking, Spencer? Let's just run it back like that never happened.
Out of all the guys at the top of the leaderboard, did you think it was going to be Xander Schauffele? Because he has the pedigree now, but I did not expect what we saw today from him. Did not.
Yeah, I really didn't expect him to win 2 majors in a year. I really thought he was never going to win a major, but now we're seeing a guy that has the confidence coming off the PGA Championship to go out there and just dominate. I mean, he made 6 bogeys all week, and on that golf course, which is pretty wild considering he was only 3 under par. So if you think about it, he went bogey free today. So he's 3 under par through 3 rounds. So that means he only made 9 birdies. He made 9 birdies, 6 bogeys the first 3 rounds. But then today he goes bogey free, 65, 6 under par. His longest par putt today was 2 feet 10 inches. Did not have more than 3 feet for par. And that is why what I was saying when I was muted is I was very annoyed with the weather today because we were getting what we wanted all week. Friday, Saturday, it was a bloodbath. And then today it completely lays down. These dudes like Billy Horschel shoots 67. Thriston Lawrence shoots 68. Also, do you know what's funny is like for years, so a lot of people don't know who Thriston Lawrence is, but on the DP World Tour.
Is it Tristan or Thurston?
Dude, I thought that's what I was going to say. I always want to say Thurston because of the way his name is spelled, but it is Tristan, just spelt in a South African messed up kind of way. But that dude played his ass off. Like, so if you're not following us on Twitter, I bet Thriston Lawrence to win last night. He was 3 under, so he was 2 off the lead. Leader was at 5. So he was 2 off going into today.
No, only 1 off.
Oh, was it 4?
4 under.
Oh, yeah. Okay, it was 4. And if you would have told me that he goes out and shoots 68, I would have been like, yeah, he's going to win the event. But considering the weather today, just played so freaking easy. I mean, Xander Schauffele shoots, I think, 32 on that back 9, where, and don't get me wrong, like credit to him. He's just, when he turns it on, similar to Scotty Scheffler, and we'll get into Scotty, but Xander is borderline impossible to beat. He doesn't make mistakes. Like, look at what he did down the stretch of the PGA Championship. Shot 65 Sunday at the PGA, shot 65 today to win 2 majors. I think that's only
He's
ever been done by Jack Nicklaus.
the only player to shoot 65 or lower in the final round to win a major more than once in their career is Jack Nicklaus. Xander, and nobody's ever done it twice in the same season. And Xander Schauffele just did it twice in 2024. And now it feels like we have to. I don't even know where the career arc of this dude is at, and the ridiculous change that this guy's had. And now, I mean, it's been since Masters was in April, May. So it's been 3 months, and his career trajectory has done a complete 180. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he has completely changed everybody's minds on him, including myself, because I did not think he had that dog in him, similar to Morikawa, similar to like how Cantlay feels right now. There's quite a few guys out there that we didn't think were ever going to get it done, and clearly Xander. I looked into Xander's season he's having this year because everybody always talks about Scotty. He's been the talk of the tour this year, so nobody ever really looks at anybody else's statistics. And Xander has played in 18 events now. He's finished top 25 in 17 of them. He's now won.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's won twice. He's going to be at, I want to say, after today, $15 million on the season, just on the golf course. And his year is freaking ridiculous. Let me hunt it down again real quick.
Well, one thing while you're looking at that, one thing I was looking up the other day is it was showing like all-time majors won by player and just the amount, and then it listed in like order how many Masters they've won, how many PGA Tours or PGA Championships they've won, how many Opens, and then how many US Opens. And he's now like he's not on the same level, but Brooks Koepka has both won a PGA Championship and a US Open. So now Xander is already halfway through a Grand Slam in the matter of 2 months, when, no joke, in April, I don't know if we talked about him much at the Masters or after the Masters, but in late April, early May, he was the stamp of approval of the best player that hasn't won a major. And now he's won 2, and it's the end of the 2024 season. Like, I'm honestly in a slight disbelief, especially coming from where he came from, just playing steady the whole time and just staying steady. Like, you had Scotty Scheffler somewhat up there, made a little charge today. Shane Lowry made another charge today. But I think even most insane too is not that it's just Xander, but the fact that after we saw where guys finished up yesterday and what the weather forecast originally was for today, shout out to you for our great forecast on Wednesday. But the fact that the winner was 9 under is mind blowing. I never thought anyone would get to 9 after yesterday when we saw Shane get to 7 at some point. I was like, oh, he's going to blow this field out of the water, get to 9. He shoots 80 yesterday. Not really 80, probably 78 legitimately, but
I think he shot 77.
He shoots 77. And I was like, I thought the winner today would be at 5, maybe 4, and 4 would be like a guy getting into a playoff.
I mean, it could have been there, but the weather just laid down today. It was completely a 180 from what the first, or a Friday and Saturday looked like. At least Thursday was a pretty scoreable day. Friday and Saturday were a bloodbath. And then because Xander's round today tied the round of the tournament, which Dan Brown shot, Daniel, he shot on Thursday. And also got to give him a quick shout out. We had talked on Friday about how much he struggled on the DP World Tour this season, just not having a good year. I think he was going to cash. He stayed inside the top 10. He shot 74 today to stay T10, which gets him an exemption into next year, which is awesome. And he's also going to cash his biggest check, I think, ever, for close. I think I want to say $320,000 US dollars. So I had looked on his DP World Tour and in his entire DP World Tour career, I think his largest check was like 240,000. So he's going to cash his biggest check, finishing T10 at this event. But just an unbelievable week for him. I mean, yesterday he was, or I'm sorry, today he was paired up with Scotty Scheffler. Like this dude, if you would have told him that 2 weeks ago, he'd be like, "You're full of shit." Like you're in one of the final pairings at the Open Championship paired with the world number one. He'd be like, "Yeah, you're full of it." Like I'm not going to do that. But that is golf in a nutshell. You never know who's going to emerge and play their ass off, and he really hung in there. So I think it was pretty cool too because I think his brother won the British Amateur this year, if I'm not mistaken, or he won if it wasn't the British Amateur, it was a very big British Amateur event, and he was on his bag for him this entire week.
Oh,
So
really? Well,
yeah,
it couldn't have been the British Amateur because that would have mean he was playing in the Open.
well, that would be the exemption for next. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, yeah, I don't think it was the actual British Am. Maybe it was one of like the regional amateurs or something like that. But I think his brother is a very good player in his own right. But did you see also? So Dan Brown, he kept like ducking down, like lighting cigarettes and shit. Also, just awesome. He's caught smoking heaters. But they asked him about it afterwards, and he said that he was trying to hide it because he knew his parents were watching. And they were like, "Do your parents not know you smoke?" And he goes, "No, they do. I just try to hide it from them. I try not to do it in front of them." And he's like, and this is even better. He's like, "I only try to smoke on the golf course." Probably just because he's so fucking stressed out. He's just sitting there chain smoking cigarettes one after the other, just trying to fucking relax. But I thought that was also hilarious. And then yesterday, before he gets up to the 18th green, he's walking along the ropes, and a few guys come over and like want to take a selfie, like with him walking behind it. He comes over and like puts his arm around the guys, and they take the selfie together with him in it, and he's still playing, like walking up to the 18th green. So
That's
that dude,
incredible.
yeah, he seemed like he like took in this entire week, really appreciated it for what it was. And it would be very cool to see him, get springboarded on the DP World Tour to maybe win an event this year or continue the good play. And speaking of DP World Tour, I was talking about Thriston Lawrence, Thurston, if we want to call
Mr.
him that.
Thriston Lawrence.
But it's funny because a lot of people, I would say I watch the DP World Tour more than the average bear. I enjoy that. So I knew this dude and I knew his game, relatively speaking. I didn't know. I mean, so he shoots 65 yesterday to get into the mix. He was 3 over going into the weekend, shoots 65 on Saturday to get it to 3 under. And I was like, this dude is just striping it. And then today he goes out, he hits driver everywhere, just does not give a fuck. Like
Love
these
that.
dudes,
Love that play.
Billy Horschel's hitting iron off a one. Thurston hits driver. There's literally not a hole out there that Thriston Lawrence did not just fucking grab the big stick and just rip on it. He hits like this 40-yard cut, like this massive, but it's like this piercing. It's not like a balloon cut. He just sets up left of the target and just absolutely rips on it. I think on the 11th hole, with the wind off the left, the toughest driving hole on the course, he steps up with driver, hits like a 50-yard fade just right in the throat of the fairway. So he made one bogey, I think, on 12. He only made one bogey all day and shoots 68. And it just goes to show you, like, when Xander Schauffele is making birdies, nobody can keep up with the dude. Like Horschel, all these dudes are shooting 3, 4 under. Xander goes out and shoots 6 under par on a Sunday at a major. Like he went out, and I credit where it's due. Obviously, he went and won that event. He didn't get handed to him. Like there was a lot of dudes bunched up in that pack. He set himself apart, and I'm just really impressed. And the dude, I will say too, has been one of the best putters on tour for like the last 3 or 4 years, and a lot of people don't really realize it. But now that his ball striking is as good as it is, and he's so consistent and long, by the way, holy shit. There was a few par fours on the back nine playing 480. He had like a $130 and a $140 in. He was hitting 340, 350 yard tee shots like they were
He was
fucking nothing.
he was having driver flick into a lot of these par fours.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, like Thriston Lawrence is not as long of a hitter, so he's hitting, 7 or 6 iron into these par fours where Xander Schauffele is hitting 9 iron or pitching wedge. And when people say distance doesn't matter, it fucking matters a whole lot. And hand up, I was wrong about Royal Troon. It is one of the few open courses where you have to drive the golf ball well. Like, there's a lot of other these courses in the open rotation that you can spray it. At Royal Troon, you could not, and Xander hit it so well off the tee.
No, 100%. And touching on that point, it's not like they don't necessarily have to hit the fairway, but there was so many holes, especially that stretch on the back 10, 11, 12, where you can miss the fairway, but like if you miss the fairway, you're in danger of hitting 3 off the tee.
Yeah,
And that's what it was about. Like, yeah, a lot of these guys didn't have, like Xander made a birdie today, I believe on 12 from the fescue. So it's not a matter of like if you can make birdies from missing the fairway.
you
It's
just
a
got to
matter of
keep
like
it in play.
if you don't have the ball in play, obviously you can't win a major like that. And some of the tee shots were just absurd, like how the windows that they had to hit it into. And then, like you said, Thriston, our boy Thriston Lawrence, is bomb and driver, but a lot of the guys are like, well, maybe I'll take the 30-yard, 40-yard difference in distance if this ball is hittable and it's not, hand up to the right, hand up to the left, balls in the railroad, whatever. Yeah, and so going to your point about how, quote unquote, when we say easy, obviously today wasn't easy. It's never easy at a major championship level, but the only 2 players in the top 10 to shoot over par today were Scotty Scheffler and Daniel Brown. And you don't normally see that on a Sunday at an Open Championship for sure. Like Masters probably, PGA
Did
Championship probably.
did Scotty bring down Dan Brown's game today? Is that why Dan Brown fired 3 over because he had to watch Scotty? Dude, I gotta say, when Scotty gets crooked with the putter, it makes him look like he's a 12 handicap. His lag putting today was some of the worst I've ever seen from a PGA Tour pro. He had like a 40 footer, hits it like 8 feet by, has a 30 footer, leaves it 6 or 7 feet short. He's missing his line by feet. He's hitting it 6 feet right. Like, it literally looked like he was quiet quitting out there on the golf course today, just fucking not giving a single shit about the greens. And then, I mean, he's obviously an elite player, best in the world right now by world ranking. When you get lost on the greens, then you start searching and it just gets worse because you could tell he was starting to force a little bit. And then he's hitting it 6, 7, 8 feet by. And these greens are slow. I mean, credit to them for getting him to the hole because Shane Lowry actually a few times today had like 30 or 40 footers 6 inches short right in the heart. And I'm sure he's going to remember those and beat himself up over those. But speaking of putting and Shane Lowry, when that dude gets on with the putter, I've never expected a player to make more 30 or 40 footers than Shane. Like, every time he steps over it, I'm like, he's going to fucking make this. And then even, I mean, Xander as well coming down the stretch makes a couple like 15, 20 footers that he easily could have missed and, kept everyone else in the field in it. And he just puts his foot down and fucking makes those putts like that. The ball striking gets you there, but the putting is what sets you apart. And that's what Xander did today.
Yeah, when he made that putt on 14, it was basically over. Real quick, before we get too much into Shane Lowry, because I do want to talk about him and just the roller coaster of a week that he had, I want to tell you about our friends over at Lucy Nicotine. I had some Lucy's on the plane today. Kept me awake, kept me fighting with the United Wi-Fi the whole way here to try to get to stream this fucking Open. Lucy is 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco free. They have it gum, they have pouches, and they have the breakers. Breakers are pouches, but with a capsule of liquid flavor that helps saturate the pouch. Also makes your mouth taste good, which is a pretty awesome feature to have in a nicotine pouch. They're available in 4 or 8 milligrams. Right now, I'm rocking the 4 milligram apple ice. I've also got some 8 milligram wintergreen. They even have pouches that go all the way up to 12 milligrams. So if you're looking to change your nicotine, get something different, there's been some issues with some product supply and demand in the nicotine world. Lucy doesn't have that. You can get a subscription, which saves you more money. So go level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/BDE and use promo code BDE to get 20% off your first order. They offer free shipping and have a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. That's lucy.co. Use code BDE and get 20% off your order and always free shipping. Here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Also want to tell you about our friends over at Bet365. It was a rough week for the boys. We had to come back down to earth at some point.
You
And
got your top 10 out of
unfortunately
John
for me,
Rahm, though.
I did. And let me see. So I am in Chicago right now. We both actually are. I'm at the CHGO studios currently doing this podcast. So shout out to CHGO. We will be at St. Andrews tomorrow, not the St. Andrews, Chicago St. Andrews, the oldest golf course in America. Oh, no.
Oldest family,
Oldest
consecutive
family-owned
family
golf
owned.
course in Illinois. There we go. Just I was mixing the Andrews of Saint here, but yeah, the oldest family-owned golf course in the state of Illinois for our CHGO Cookout Classic tomorrow. 9 a.m. shotgun. It's going to be a great time. I'm already excited to get out there and swing it around a little bit. But let me see if this Bet365 offer, because I was trying to place another live bet today and it kept checking my location. I was also trying to drive.
Real quick, while you're trying to do this, quick breaking news. Obviously, this is not.
Don't go there.
What?
I know where you're going, but go
Well,
on.
I mean, it's news. Joe Biden is stepping down or taking himself out of the presidential race. That is breaking news. I mean, we don't need to comment on it. It's just news. We can just announce it and leave it there.
Breaking news on the podcast.
If you're tapped in with us,
I got five units back. So I basically pretty much covered my card. Maybe lost a unit and a half on my card this week with Rahm finishing in the top 10.
I lost all my fucking units. That is a big thumbs down. Matthew Pavon pissed. Yeah, there we go. Hit me with that thumbs down. Pavon played like shit. Tyrrell Hatton misses the cut. Cam Smith misses the cut. Yes, this is how I felt on my betting card this week. It was fucking treacherous. I mean, Xander Schauffele was in hindsight's 2020, but he's just been an auto like top 10 guy, and being able to bet the each ways on Bet365, you got to think that he was at least going to finish in the top 12, which is what we generally bet is an each way. So I don't know why Xander wasn't picked. We tried to get cute and it didn't pay off. It did not go well for us.
Yeah, use the code ALLCITY at sign up and you get to choose between two offers of first bet safety net of $1,000 or betting $5 and getting $150 in bonus bets when you sign up with the code ALLCITY. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. But we always do our each way betting through Bet365. We couldn't be perfect. We couldn't hit the U.S. Open, the Scottish Open, and get the trifecta with the Open Championship. I think the one thing that does bother me is this is a guy that could have been picked. You know, that's like when you're picking your card, and thank God, like I'm not happy about Shane Lowry, and I want to get your thoughts on Shane Lowry right now. I'm obviously more happy he didn't win now that I definitely didn't bet on him, because if I would have bet on him and had the first Thursday, Friday he had, and then like been riding that horse all weekend, I would have been like, yeah, we're cashing out on the Bet365 app, 3 opens in a row, blah, blah, blah. Has a horrible Saturday. But Xander's a guy that I've had on the card multiple times and a guy that I probably overlooked this week, but shouts to him. And I think I said it before already, but like, I did not think he could win 2 majors in a year. We've seen guys win their first major, you know, since we've been doing Big Drive Energy, what is that, 3 or 4 years of majors? We see a guy win his first and you're like, oh, is this going to springboard him? Wyndham Clark. And then he can't even finish in the top 50 and make a cut at a major. Xander was the best player to not win a major. He gets over that. He wins the PGA Championship against Bryson DeChambeau in May. And then he turns around and wins an Open Championship. And I think that's the most frustrating part for me, is because like he was a guy that I've bet on a lot. He's almost been blacklisted at one point, honestly, for what he's done to me. He took away our win at the PGA Championship, or else we would have had 2 majors this year. And now he goes and wins the Open Championship. But I want to get on to Shane Lowry a little bit. So you texted me today. We were texting back and forth as I was flying here, and I think you've done a little bit of a 180 on Shane Lowry, or had some thoughts about his thoughts yesterday in his press conference. So I want to let you get into that.
Yeah, I've kind of changed my tune a little bit. I don't know, man. Shane Lowry is just super whiny, and everybody's like, "Oh, Tyrrell Hatton's just as whiny." But Tyrrell Hatton's different because he's self-deprecating. He blames himself for shit too. But Shane Lowry is just gotten to the point where he yelled at a dude that was standing like in the right rough, and his ball hit him, and it could have kept Shane Lowry's ball out of the fucking fescue. It hit him and like stayed in the rough, or maybe went back in the fairway. And then I guess Shane gets up there and goes, well, you shouldn't be fucking standing out here, should you? Like, rips this Marshall a new asshole. And then I saw another video on Twitter of him at the Ryder Cup. One of the marshals was saying, everybody be quiet. And Lowry turns around and goes, you're making more fucking noise than any of them. And like rips the Marshall again at their. So these videos are emerging where Shane Lowry is just looking a little whiny and a little bitchy, and looks like
Well,
the
when
most.
the video of him, the guy moving the camera on Friday, and then he
Yeah.
just goes, "Fuck's sake." He
Yeah. I
finished it with
mean,
the "fuck's sake."
for a dude that plays as much in front of that many crowds and everything, you think he'd be a little less sensitive to the small moving and everything like that. And I will say the Open Championship crowd is generally more respectful than the PGA Tour crowds are. The PGA Tour crowds don't give a fuck. I mean, we still heard a few of the Hawk Tuas out there. We've heard a few get mashed potato, light the candle, all the normal bullshit that we generally
Those
hear.
are
But
the Americans that traveled over there. Don't make any mistake.
oh yeah, for sure. The British people are just like golf clap. Um, Another that kind of brings me to celebrations. I think it is so lame when the player that wins the event is not in the final group, because there's no real big celebration. Like Xander's winning putt was him just tapping in a 6-incher, so then Justin Rose could go hit his birdie putt. Like there was no big celebration. He didn't really seem to give a shit, which was equally annoying because Xander is just that cool, calm, and collected dude. But there was hardly any celebration from him, which, I guess every U.S. player just has to be as vanilla as fucking vanilla ice cream anymore. They gotta just have no personality whatsoever. That's maybe why I miss like Brooks competing in the majors. And I'm not saying he can't. Obviously, he will again, but somebody that has some personality, shows a little fucking, excitement or a little passion on the golf course. Like Xander showed really no passion whatsoever. Just the most boring 65 you've ever watched on the course today. And that's really, if I'm going to bitch about anything, that is what annoys me the most.
Well, speaking of Americans and majors, that is a clean sweep for the US of A in majors this year, with Xander Schauffele, of course, winning 2 of them, Bryson DeChambeau and Scotty Scheffler winning the other. So the United States Olympic team has 3 of the 4 majors this year, should have 4, but we won't get into that until we preview the Olympics and talk about who's in and who's out. But what do you think? So you had a quote, we clipped it earlier this week, about the Americans not having a ton of creativity. I know Xander went out and won this, but do you think like today is maybe not a good example because it was quote unquote pretty easy, just the setup. But do you think over the week that he was also rewarded for his creativity, or you think he was just so solid in general that it didn't really matter, and then he just goes and fires 65 today?
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like a cop out, because I was going to say another hand up, I fucked up moment was me saying the Americans had no creativity, and then Xander goes out and wins it. But like you said, I think there's a bit of an asterisk there, because Xander simply overpowered the golf course today with the benign conditions that there were out there. He did not have to worry about flighting any shots down. He was hitting 4-iron off the tee and hitting it 290 to 300 yards. Anytime he's hitting driver, it was out there 370, 380. So you're turning these 500-yard par 4s into driver flick wedge, and he's just overpowering the golf course. There was no creativity with like hitting low shots, we really got hardly any stinger porn. over these last 4 days, other than Saturday where Scotty Scheffler hit that 3-wood on 17.
That
to
may
like
be
the
one of
foot.
the best golf shots in 10 years
Yeah,
on the PGA Tour.
absolutely obscene. So this might just be me, and I don't know if you ever feel this way. And it's not every single shot, but do you ever watch the golf broadcast and be like, God, I feel like I could do that better than they're doing it right now? Like, not on a hole in, hole out basis, but like on that particular shot that you see, you're like, fuck, I feel like I would. You just like draw how you draw it up in your mind. Like a dude's got 120 wind off the left. You're like, oh, I just draw a little wedge right up against it, because like, and credit to Thriston Lawrence, I actually enjoyed watching him play today. Obviously, I was betting on him, but that's beside the point. He was hitting these low flighted wedges. He was taking more club. He wasn't throwing these wedges way up in the air. He was fucking flighting them, hitting little BBs at the flag. I think the second or third hole, he had like 110 or 115. He grabs a pitching wedge, like chips it around the bunk, like it lands in front of the green, one hops, takes the contour around the bunker to the back left flag. And that is the kind of creativity that I enjoy, that the Open Championship should bring out of players. But now with how long these dudes hit it, it just simply doesn't matter. And I sound like such a boomer saying that shit, and I'm not. But these dudes, you don't have to get creative when you can hit it 350 off the tee, and there's not a par 4 long enough. Like Xander on the par 5 16th hit iron 3-wood from over 600 yards. And I understand it's very firm this week. Like that's the Open Championship, but you shouldn't be able to get to a par 5 that's 600 yards hitting an iron and a fucking 3-wood. That's insane to me.
Yeah, he hit, I think it was the par 5 before that on the back. I was watching, and he hit a 3-wood from the fairway. Didn't make the green, but he ended up hitting 3-wood, and his ball speed with a 3-wood off of the ground was 181. And I was like, how?
Yeah.
Like I go to Top Golf or just the driving range, and I tune it up and get as flexible as I can get, and I'm getting like 180 ball speed maybe with a driver. And this guy's just hitting 3-wood off the ground in those conditions. Like, yeah, it's decent conditions, but it's also a little cold. You got jackets on. It's a little windy. It's a little wet, and he's ripping 3-wood with 180 ball speed just to win an Open Championship. I can't fathom it.
Yeah, it's insane the speed these dudes are creating. And then you even look at like Justin Rose is a 42-year-old, and he was hitting irons off the tee and getting over 160 ball speed with an iron at 42 years old. Like that is basically what I get with a 3-wood, if not a driver. At times I'm hovering in that 160 to 165 range, and he's doing that with a fucking 3-iron. Like these dudes' distances are just insane at this point. So obviously it's a huge advantage if the weather's down. And that's really why I wanted to see a tough Sunday, because I wanted the dudes that are that long to be neutralized. I wanted the guys that were playing the classic, me being a boomer, playing that classic Open Championship link style golf and having to plot their way around the course, not just bombing it all over the fucking place, hitting wedge into every single par 4. But also want to give credit to Justin Rose. Can you believe, like, for the career he's had, he's only won one major?
Was it a U.S. Open?
Yeah, he won the U.S. Open 2013 or 2014. I think he was at Marion, but he is one of the dudes that really feels like he should have more than one major when you look back at his career. Similar to like Henrik Stenson, I think Henrik only has the one Open Championship. And
Adam
it is
Scott.
just, I mean, yeah, Adam Scott. There's a few of these dudes, and then you look at the list now that that Xander joins today by winning his second one. So what is it? I sent you the list. Thought I had it in front of me. It's Bryson DeChambeau, Colin Morikawa. God damn it! Can you think? Okay, here it is. Scotty Scheffler also has 2. Rahm has 2. Justin Thomas has 2. Dustin Johnson has 2. And now Xander has 2. So, I mean, outside of Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, we never, who knows? I think he
What
could
a
get it
roller
back.
coaster week for him.
Yeah.
Leader or close leading after the AM round Thursday, then shoots a million Friday, then shoots a million under Saturday, and then comes back today and makes 7 on the first hole and just takes himself completely out of it.
Well,
But I think he is on, like, for Justin Thomas and what everybody in the media and popularity and United States golfers and golf fans want Justin Thomas to be, I think he's on the right track. Like, is he winning the FedEx Cup or anything crazy this year? No. But he's back on the right track, and I feel like salvaged a little bit of what he once was and what he could be again. I mean, granted, he just won a major last year. Like, it feels so far away from
wasn't
his
it 2
last.
years ago?
No, I thought he won the 2023 PGA Championship.
Did he? I thought it was.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so he won. That's the one he won over Mito Pereira, wasn't it? And
That was
Will
2 years
Zalatoris?
ago.
2 years ago. Okay, so he won a major 2 years ago, which is not that crazy to think about. And I think he is on the right track, but he's so Jordan Spieth random. And that Jordan Spieth bringing that up, that reminds me of the other list you sent. So a guy that finished top 8 in all 4 majors this season with multiple wins since 1980. Tiger Woods has done it twice. Jordan Spieth has done it once. And now Xander Schauffele did it in 2024. So joins 3 different players, 4 different seasons of top 8 in every single major with 2 wins. Kind of insane.
Yeah.
Just insane to think about with all the different types of golf it is. Especially now with like week in, week out, they're not competing with the same level of talent on the PGA Tour. And then you've got this whole crop of other guys that are coming over to play in the majors. I mean, like, I can't believe this season. And can you imagine, like, now my mind, there's people that bet that go like you're playing roulette, let's say, and you bet on the numbers that had just hit, or you bet on the cold numbers because they have to hit at some point, right?
Yeah.
So some people are in both camps of that. In my mind right now, there's no way Xander Schauffele could win the FedEx Cup, but if he wins the FedEx Cup and he wins the Tour Championship, like, all you have to do is, like, Victor Hovland last year blew everybody out of the water in the last 2 events, the BMW and the final FedEx Cup Championship. But, like, if Xander were to win the FedEx Cup Championship this year, that's top. You'd have to comb through all of Tiger seasons. But if you leave Tiger Woods out of the equation and just go guys after Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer, guys like that, this is one of the better seasons of all time. Because as great as decorated as Scotty has been, he's only been able to win Masters, and he hasn't won a FedEx Cup Championship yet.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, now where do you go with the PGA Tour Player of the Year? Even now, regardless if he wins the FedEx Cup or not, where does 2 majors versus 6 PGA Tour wins in the regulars and 1 major rank for you? Like, that is fucking hard, because I feel like Scotty week in, week out has just been the best. But then you look at Xander. So I mentioned he has 16 top 25s. I'm sorry, 17 now out of 18 with the British Open Championship, whatever. He has 11 top 10s. So I'm sorry, now 12 top 10s. So he's top 10 in 66%, 2/3 of the events he's played in this year. So he's almost like an auto top 10, which is for what kind of coverage his season has gotten. Obviously he got all the accolades for winning the PGA Championship because it's a major, but consistency wise, week in and week out, he's still finishing in the top 10. He hasn't won a regular PGA Tour event this year. But are you picking Scotty or are you picking Xander?
Right now, I think it's still Scotty, but that poses the question, in your eyes, how many majors or how many, so let's start this over again. In your eyes, how many PGA Tour events does a major equal? Like, if you win 3, does that, and no, like with the Scotty Scheffler winning 1 major, 6 events, how many of those 2 majors for Xander Schauffele equal? You know what I mean? Like, where are you at on that? Because I think it's about 3. To me, if you win 3 PGA Tour events, that's about 1 major's worth of weight in the eyes of Player of the Year, where your career's at, how good of golf you're playing.
Yeah, I would definitely agree there. I think that 3 is almost the equivalent. Like if you have a 6-win season, that's almost equivalent to 2 majors in my eyes. That feels pretty comparable. But now, so I look at Scotty's season. He's got 6 wins. He's played in 15 events. He's finished in the top 9 of those events. He's finished in the top 10, 13 of those events. So, I mean, he's having just as an elite of a season. And I would still give it to Scotty right now. But like you said, if Xander wins one more like FedEx Cup event, he doesn't even have to win the FedEx Cup, which, by the way, he's been a bridesmaid, I think, 2 or 3 times in the FedEx Cup. He's finished second place. So, he's still doing very well for himself. But if Xander does win another event, I think that'll probably, if he has 3 wins on the season and 2 of them are majors, I think he's the player of the year, which is absolutely obscene because Scotty is doing something that we haven't seen in 15 to 20 years from the best player of all time. So I guess now, are we at the point with the PGA Tour where that you're either elite or you're trash within reason? You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like there's no middle class of PGA Tour players where a dude's really solid. He wins once or twice a year. It's either these dudes that are winning 2, 3, 4 times a year, or dudes that win once in their entire career, and then you never hear their name again. Like, that's where I feel like the PGA Tour is going, and possibly too because the schedule is set up for these better players to get into more events, to get into these limited field events, to make more money, to get their world ranking higher, to keep them in these events. They still have to play well, but it's so much tougher for a lower end PGA Tour guy to vault himself up into all the signature events and get into all the majors and all that shit. So it feels like there's just a separation of quality of play on the PGA Tour at this point.
Yeah, and we've spoke on that before. It's just a matter of like there's no middle class. There's lower class and there's upper class. Speaking of upper class, we're talking about upper class beer here, and that is Coors Light. I had a top tier. Maybe someday on this pod we'll have to rank the best Coors Lights, but I had a fire pit Coors Light on Friday night. Went over to the in-laws, had a massive fire, and had a couple of the cold Coors Light bottles. Mountains were completely blue. But I was thinking to myself as I was consuming that, is this the best Coors Light that there is? Like, where does a fire pit Coors Light rank for you?
Fire pit Coors Light is a top 5er for me. I think if we're doing a quick ranking, I got to go tailgate. Coors Light is probably number 1. Getting off of work, Coors Light, number 2. Sunday afternoon, cornhole Sunday fun day, Coors Light's number 3. Fire pit's probably number 4. And then a Coors Light in the shower is number 5.
Shower beers are elite. It's been a while since I've done that, probably since college. But yeah, the fire pit Coors Light and like the Friday afternoon, there's no more work to do for the week Coors Light, where you finally are like, okay, I'm shutting off my work brain and turning on my weekend brain. That Coors Light absolutely slaps. So when it's time to chill, Coors Light is the beer I always reach for. When you want to hit reset, grab the beer that is made to chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Also want to tell you about our friends over at Shady Rays. I made a boo-boo today, just one of the 10 that I've had in this current travel day that I'm on, but I do not have my Shady Rays on. Not rocking them as of now, but I will be rocking them tomorrow at the CHGO Cookout Classic. We've got a longest putt sponsored by Shady Rays on the 18th hole of our tournament tomorrow. So winner's going to take home some fresh Green Wolf golf sunglasses. Those are the sunglasses I wear all the time. Thank God. I have a big problem of leaving my sunglasses and not bringing them on trips. Like, I woke up at 3:45 this morning and it was very dark out when I left the house, so I didn't think sunglasses. But luckily, I've got my golf bag with me and I've got my Green Wolves in my golf bag. They never leave the pocket or the to-go case, if you will, the Shady Rays to-go case that I have. So I've got the Green Wolves on. I'll have them tomorrow at the Cookout Classic, but not currently wearing them. So you get to see my eyes during this podcast. Honestly, everything about what I'm doing right now feels foreign. So we're just rocking with it. But Shady Rays do not feel foreign on your face. They're incredible. make sure you get the Green Wolf glasses. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com, use code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Once again, AC35 for 35% off. Shady Rays are already super affordable, but you get an extra 35% off. They are the best glasses to wear on the golf course, at a wedding, outside, anytime the sun's out. You think you're tougher than the sun, you're not tougher than the sun. Get those Shady Rays on. All right, let's wrap it up with just a few final thoughts. Just looking at the leaderboard, the top 10 and guys that I thought had like an impressive week is like Billy Horschel. I got to give a shout out to that guy because he came out of nowhere, played like shit all week. It felt like all year, not week. I'm having a week inside of a day, inside of a year currently. All year he's been like a nobody, been trying to struggle in these Oppo Taco events, like doing whatever he can. And then he's leading going into today. He's like, I've worked for this. And somebody did give him a shout out, and maybe you can speak to this a little bit because we've talked about it, the style of play. Like somebody was like, hey, shout out to Billy Horschel for going over to Europe and playing in some of these events. Whether or not that's because he's not in the elevated event or whatever it ends up being, but he's gone to Europe and played in a few of the events, and he's going to end up with a T2, nice fat paycheck. I mean, and to his credit, like we've talked about, Xander definitely won this event, but he shot 68 today. Like he didn't go out and shoot 73 after having a lead going into a Sunday at a major and just like completely shit on himself. Birdied the first hole, added a shot to his lead right off the hop, and ended up shooting a 68. So Xander just went and took it straight from him. But Billy Horschel had a great week, and I think, you know, some of that European golf over the course of a year speaks to his solid week.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, he only has 2 top 10s in majors going into this week, and he's played 42 career majors. So he's not had a good go of it at the majors in his career. And for him to be, you know, a little bit older, some would say not in his prime. I mean, he had a few very good years, you know, within the last 10 years, but he just feels like a little bit over the hill. So for him to do what he did this week, I was very happy for the dude. He birdied his last 3 today. I don't know if you saw that, but he was kind of out of it all day and then birdied the final 3, which you can look at 2 ways. You can be like, wow, what a cool, strong finish. But then that's also kind of like, you know, scoring buckets when you're down by 30. It doesn't quite matter as much, but still a really solid finish for him. Russell Henley, another dude that was right there, played so solid. That dude just hits it so fucking good. He's so good with the putter. Like everything about his game, nothing is just special. Nothing is quite like out of this world special, but he just does everything really well. He shot a bogey-free 69 today, I want to say. So just couldn't. It came down to Xander Schauffele being able to make all those birdies. Like I would have loved to have seen the winner shoot even par or 1 under today and grind that out in order to win, but it feels like since we've been doing this podcast, we go into these Sundays with the leaderboard completely stacked. You know, we're priming up for a fucking playoff finish, you know, multiple guys at the top of the leaderboard. And then by the middle of the back 9, we can basically turn the thing off because one guy is just pulled away and won the event before it's, you know, there's 3 or 4 holes left. So yeah, that has been a little shitty for us because we love doing these live shows at the end of the events and we really want to do like a live reaction, but there really wasn't anything to react to today. A few guys, Thriston Lawrence tried to make a little bit of a late push and just couldn't get it done. And everybody else, you know, nobody was going to go shoot 32 on that back 9 like Xander Schauffele did. So kudos to him, but yeah, it could have. I wish there would have been more parity. That's what we look for in all these major events. We want it to be intense down the stretch, and Xander just played too well today. He took that from us. So fuck him.
Yeah, it seems like we always get the opposite of what it starts at on a Sunday. Like today, it was stacked. Ended up getting a 3-4, you know, a 3 or 2 shot win, but it was basically a 3-shot win after he birdied 15 and or 3-shot lead, and it was over at that point.
Yeah, where's Jordan Spieth when you need him to blow like a 5-shot lead on a Sunday? That would be some electric shit for us to watch and be able to live commentate down the stretch, but we have not gotten that so far.
Another guy that's just had a silently great year, Ben On. He shot even par today, but finishes 1 over par for the championship T13. So, I mean, you shoot, like you said, you shoot even pars, make 72 pars in a week, and you're top 10ing at a major. So, really a grind that week. But like, I think a lot of the guys, really, other than Xander Schauffele, the guys at the very top of the leaderboard, it was a complete roller coaster for them all week. They're either shooting 65 or 66, or they're shooting 75 or 76. There's very few guys, I think, within level par or 1 or 2 under, 1 or 2 over every single day, even the guys that finish it even. So like, who else finished it even? Dan Brown, obviously 3 over today. Adam Scott was up, down, shot a great round yesterday and then couldn't like really rein it in today. And I bet on him. I thought there was a chance he could do it, but it's funny because we know this, but we still, you said you picked Thriston Lawrence based on vibes, which at middle of today looked like a really good pick. But when you see a guy go insane low on Saturday, you should just know that Sunday is not their day.
Yeah, I mean, I could have, in hindsight, I should have known that a non, superstar name was going to come out of nowhere and win a major. But I just personally enjoy watching Thriston Lawrence. He's built like me. He's built like a propane tank. I think he had the best looking outfit on today. He had like a lavender purple quarter zip and like some gray pants, white shoes, white hat, I think. So just class outfit, plays the game right, hits a big old cut, just plays as aggressive as anybody, hits driver everywhere. So that's why I was rooting. He's an easy to root for type of dude. Do you think Xander Schauffele is a likable, easy to root for dude? Like, in the take away our, like, what we think, do you think that he is being embraced by the general public as like our little kids Xander Schauffele fans at this point?
I think it will be a thing now. Now that he's won 2 majors, he's going to be on the Olympic team. He won the Olympics last go around. So now he's having a pretty unique career in terms of winning. I'd like to see how many guys have won 2 majors and a gold medal. He may be one of the few, if not one of the only.
Justin Rose has got a major and a gold medal.
I said 2 majors, sir.
I know. That's why I'm saying Justin Rose needs to get himself another major. I think we also need to talk real quick about Xander Schauffele's dad. Did you see how layered up he was? He had like a shirt on and then a vest and then 2 jackets that looked like the exact same jacket stacked on top of each other. So just a layering king. And then he had like a cowboy, like Indiana Jones type hat on. And it was actually kind of funny because I think Xander's dad is one of those like alpha, like, he's been similar to Tiger Woods' dad, like really pushed him to get in the position where he is. And you could just, he looks super stoic standing there, like not moving. He had sunglasses on, but then you could see he was visibly like crying and like fighting off tears. So trying to be that tough, like that's such a boomer thing to do, where the dude's like, oh, I can't cry like this. I can't look like this on national TV, but he was fully crying. And that was like cool to see how strongly he felt for Xander and how happy he is for Xander. Like, his dad was showing more emotion than he was. Xander was like just another fucking walk in the park. He is one of the chillest, like most relaxed guys on tour, which kind of bugs me. Because I bet you put a whoop band on him, a whoop band, and his heartbeat on 18 was probably like 50 or 60 beats a minute. Like, just fucking flatline the entire way. Like, he's a better Jason Duffner, basically. He just never shows emotion, never gets pissed off, just goes out there and fires at flags, hits it 360, and makes everything he looks at. Like, what the fuck are you going to do about that?
I do think one of the more impressive things about him is his relatively small size in general, and then the fact that he hits it so far. And I think that is something that kids will look up to, because golf is, we've talked about it multiple times, golf is a sport where it doesn't matter your shape, size, color, whatever, you can be good at it, and it's very individualized sport, and you see kids be good at football when they're little, but their teams aren't good. So it doesn't feel as good because their team isn't winning. This is such an individualized sport. And guys like this are out there not only winning multiple majors in a year, but, even the last 15, 20 years, golf has been so. Tiger Woods was, yes, he was, groomed to be a great golfer since he was born, essentially, from his dad. But then it showed how in shape he was and how much he was in the gym. Now you've got guys like Xander Schauffele, who's, I'm not saying he's not in shape, but like just a smaller stature of a dude that's going out and winning these events and hitting the ball a mile. Like, it just goes to show, like, I think that is a huge thing in terms of the kids watching him being like, oh, I'm a little smaller. I can't hit the ball as far as you can. Well, that's not necessarily the case. And Xander shows that right there. Like, there's, he hits it about as far as Ludwig Gobert does. And that guy's a robotic 6'4", machine. And Xander's just this short little dude just ripping it around there. So I think that part of it will grow his popularity in general of like, wow, I don't need to be 6'2" and 190 pounds in order to hit the ball as far as anyone on the planet.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with that. He's definitely not the built in a lab type of look that you expect these guys to have, like Ludwig Gobert, like you said. But all you got to do, and I'm actually going to go start working on this. You just got to have a really shut club face and just fucking rip on it and hold off the face and try not to snap hook it every time. Cause that truly, like, all joking aside, that is where he has his distance. Is he makes a very big turn, but then his club face is in a very strong position and he just rotates his ass off. And very efficiently. Obviously, he's won 2 majors this year, but the dude, like you said, it's crazy to see a guy like him bombing it. But then you look at Brian Harman, and Xander Schauffele hits it probably 30 or 40 past Brian Harman. You look at Rory McIlroy, you look at Justin Thomas. These dudes, it doesn't really matter how big you are anymore. You can hit it super far. But that's an excuse that I continue to use. I'm just not tall enough. That's why I didn't make it out on tour. I just don't hit it long enough. But no, Xander's fun to watch. It just, so there's a lot of majors that just leave you something to be desired. And between the lack of emotion, him not being in the final group, the weather kind of being underwhelming today, I wish that we could have just recreated the Friday, Saturday like that. Those were the 2 best days of the event because it was absolutely hold on to your nuts, try to hit the ball in play, make as many pars and get out of there with no double bogeys. So yeah, today was a little underwhelming, but still, I mean, Xander went out there and just fucking stepped on everyone else's throat. He wasn't taking any prisoners today. So credit to him.
Yeah, credit to him. Credit to the Americans winning all 4 majors. This final 2024 major won by Xander Schauffele. Second major of the year. We got Bryson, we got Scotty, we got Xander. 3 major champions of 2024. But as we've said on the pod all year, we're still excited. Like, it feels getting a little Sunday scaries right now, especially since it's such early in the day. Like, we didn't have a ton of the day to watch this, like our afternoon wasn't consumed by it. But we've got Olympics coming up. We've got President's Cup. We've got FedEx Cup, all that stuff. So still a lot of golf. Make sure you're following along with us all year. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Like, subscribe, do all the things. I am on Twitter at Big Drive Spence. He's on Twitter at Big Drive Mitch, at Big Drive Energy Pod on all the social, or Big Drive Energy, on all the socials. Big Drive Energy Pod on the Instagram. We appreciate you tuning in for our final recap of Major Season 2024. We'll be back this Wednesday with the Hump Day edition, talking some more golf, getting into, of course, there's going to be more that comes out from the majors. There always is. We'll get into all those storylines and everything else on Wednesday. Make sure you're tuning in. We'll talk to you then. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.